what are your thoughts on reincarnation?
I believe in it 100%. If you feel that you are having bad luck, check to see if it's because you're not paying attention, or you might really have bad luck and you need to cleanse or sage or something like that before you preact. We're programmed to think negative, unfortunately, as humans. We need to reprogram ourselves to think positive. And a habit can be changed in 28 days. So if you constantly think positive, all of a sudden positive things will come your way. So in 28 days or in a month, things will come your way. I recommend the Law of Attraction and The Secret to spin the negativity.
The law of attraction, that's what it is. And I was going to ask you that. That's something obviously that you believe in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something I've actually been really working on myself, like the past year, like really trying hard to stay positive, and it really truly is life changing. And you have to be patient, I think, but yeah, like it just your mindset. It's incredible what it does when you really are aware of it.
Yes.
And you're consciously like working towards something. It's amazing what it does, and it's hard to, I think, explain that to people sometimes that are in a bad place.
Right.
But you know, as long as you put the information out there and they can come to it when they're ready, I think that's like all you can do. Now, it seems like that today, at least, or maybe it's always been this way, that like witches are thought of being kind of like feminist icons, like powerful women. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. Because we need both sides to balance us, the yin and the yang. So we need the matriarch and the patriarch to make us whole. In the Wiccan pagan religion, the women are elevated. In every other religion, the men are the ones that are elevated. They're the ones, the gods that you pray to. We pray to a god and a goddess. So the answer to your question is yes and no.
Yeah. Now we're getting really close to Halloween. Is it offensive for people to dress up like witches and like have witch decorations?
I personally don't mind. When I purchase stuff for my home, I don't like the witch with the long nose. I don't like the green ones. But that's only my personal preference. I mean, I wish that everybody has fun. It's a day to honor your ancestors. I feel that needs to be brought into it. People don't realize that. We call it the New Year, but it's the one day of the year that you can pay homage to where you came from and your roots. So I just wish that became more of a part of the Sabbath, which is what we call it, is a Sabbath, and the name of it is Samhain. That's what we call it. Everybody else calls it Halloween, which is fine, but I just wish that we would honor our dead as well. I mean, the next day is All Saints' Day, but it needs to be, it's when the veil is at the thinnest between the worlds. So this is when you can communicate with your dead. What I usually do is I make a plate up, and I put all good stuff on it, cakes, candies, food, like a Thanksgiving, and I put it outside for my ancestors, and I put a candle so it leads them there.
That's another thing I was going to ask you, actually, about the veil being thin on Halloween. That's something that's true, you think?
Yes, I definitely believe that wholeheartedly.
Well, not really a question, but just an observation that I have noticed. There seems to be like similarities between Wicca and other types of like things that people do in other cultures. A Day of the Dead, they honor their ancestors and they put out food and alcohol, things like that. And it's a few days after Halloween. In Korean culture, they kind of do something similar. It's more of like a Thanksgiving celebration for them, but they do the same thing. They put out a whole bunch of food that their previous passed away ancestor or relative enjoyed and that they can't enjoy anymore, and they leave that out, and they leave out their favorite drinks and things like that. It's not that different from other cultures and religions, I think.
No, it's really not.
Yeah,
It's very similar, and they all come from the same root.
Yeah.
And the root is basically paganism.
Yeah, it's
And
like a tradition.
yes, yes, and then all the other religions pretty much spawned off of that. They wanted to form organized religions instead of it being solitary.
Yes. And I think it's something very honorable to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if it wasn't through them, we would not be here.
Yeah.
So we need to honor exactly what they came from. And there are things that they have done, rights or wrongs that we need to right. So that comes within your lineage. And as you go back and research, that's why all these companies, Ancestry.com and stuff like that are amazing, because you can see who was before you and you can research what they have done. And if they were a bad person, you can right their wrongs. As long as the other party is willing to forgive, you can right their wrongs, and that'll help your lineage going forward.
So you think like karma is kind of passed down through people, like
100%.
That's really interesting. I never even thought about that.
Yes, 100%. You always want to leave it clean for the next generation.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to leave it clean for my grandkids.
That's really interesting. I literally have never thought about that before. That's a good point. Now I have to feel like I have to go look. I actually did do Ancestry.com years ago, but my mom at least is like really good about that. Like she knows, I feel like, our whole family. But yeah, that's like, I'm gonna go home and like look up everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I feel like the one thing that I've really learned talking to you about Wicca is that it's like, I feel like it's more personal and more like individualized than like other traditional religions, I guess. I mean, any religion is personal. Like obviously anybody that believes in a god at all, like you have a personal side to it, but like as a whole, it seems like it's very individual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's not organized. There are covens where people, pray to the same deities and do the same thing. There are covens out there. I try to keep it solitary because I don't like organized. So when you join a coven, it's in a way organized. You have somebody facilitating everything, or you have two people facilitating everything, and everybody has a role that they play in it. They have people who are the scribes who write what happened during the ritual per se. There are good points to that where if you're doing some kind of healing, you have more people pushing that healing energy out. So yes, there are good points to it. I just feel that I can do stuff on my own without without other people. If I need to facilitate something that's big, if somebody really needs healing, then I'll call on my sisters and brothers to help me push that out.
Right.
But other than that, I try to keep it on my own.
Yeah, it works better for you. I guess
it does.
Like a personal, like...
Absolutely, totally personal.
This is the last thing I'm going to mention, and it's really a random, like, throwing out there question, but it came to my mind, and I feel like you're just so interesting to talk to, and you have, like, I feel like there's just so many things, like, we can learn from you.
Thank you.
And this is just, like, not to do with Wicca or anything. It's a random question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on reincarnation?
I believe in it 100%. It's funny that you asked that because my husband and I have been married in past lives.
Really?
Yes. So, yes, and I have a lot of past lives behind me. So I believe in it wholeheartedly that the reason, my belief, I don't know if it's everybody's, but my beliefs is as you reincarnate, you're supposed to fix the problems that you had in the past life, or you're destined to learn stuff in this life, like, or occurrences or religions or something that you need to know before you move on and just totally, be not incarnated into a being, into a human. So if you were like super rich in a past life and snobby, maybe in the next life you're poor. So you get the balance, you know, just as a for instance.
So it's like you basically like I guess every time you're here, it's because you're trying to like advance your soul. I guess.
Yes.
And I guess when you stop would be when you reach when there's no more to do.
Exactly. All your lives you've done what you needed to do. And I don't know who decides that. I don't know what great being or great power decides that. But this is my belief that, yes, you'll just keep on being reincarnated until you're satisfied.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, that's kind of how my thought is on it. I mean, it really truly does make sense to me. It does, but...
Yes. And you're usually situated with people in the same circle. You're reincarnated with the same beings. So you might have been my sister in a past life, or my mother, or an aunt, or something like that, or a brother. Mm-hmm. Your soul is usually congregates with the same people. That's why you feel that kinship when you meet people, because you've known them in a past life. And again, this is only my belief.
Yeah. It's just it's interesting because like that's like how I feel. So I'm glad that I asked you because I was like I just want to throw it out there because it's like might as well ask. And I'm sure like my audience would be interested to hear it. I think that's probably everything that I had. I just want to thank you seriously again so much for doing this. Like I not even just the video. Like I'm just feel like I'm getting so much out of this conversation.
I'm blessed. I am so blessed that you reached out to me, and I can provide some information about this cult.
Yeah. Yeah, like with my channel, like I like to talk about like a lot of like paranormal things, but like some of it is for entertainment. Obviously, it's YouTube, but like I also want it to be like educational for people.
Right.
You know, like that's my honestly. I feel like the education part is more my goal than the entertainment part.
Yeah. Because you're teaching people. People are learning. They can form their own opinions when they're done.
Yeah.
You know, assumption creates so many horrible things. Mm-hmm. You know, it really does. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess on that note, we will end the video. If you're in the Hudson Valley area, you can come check out Notions and Potions. It's in Beacon, New York. It's a really cool little store. I'll probably go like film a little bit around if you don't mind, like just to show a shot of it.
Do not mind at all.
Okay. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.